You felt it before. She was interested, then suddenly everything turned cold. Same texts, same jokes, same effort, but somehow her energy completely changed. And the worst part is, nobody tells you what actually killed it. Because most attraction doesn't die from one big failure. It dies from patterns. Tiny behaviors quietly signal neediness, pressure, insecurity, or emotional chaos before you notice. And women usually lose interest emotionally before men even realize the shift happened. So this is not about tricks, lines, or pretending to be colder. It's about the 5 mistakes that quietly make attraction feel heavy instead of exciting. And once you see them, you'll stop confusing effort with actual value. The first mistake is chasing reassurance instead of building tension, presence, and momentum. This usually starts innocently with extra texting, extra checking, and extra explaining. You think consistency looks caring, but overexposure often feels like emotional crowding. Attraction needs room to breathe because curiosity dies when nothing is left unsaid. When every thought becomes a message, your presence stops feeling exciting and starts feeling expected. And expected is dangerous because anticipation creates emotional movement while predictability flattens it. She doesn't always pull away because you care too much. She pulls away because your energy starts asking for constant proof. You can feel this in conversations that somehow become interviews about her feelings, or in that urge to ask if everything is okay, or in the follow-up text sent because she didn't answer quickly enough. The hidden message isn't affection, it's fear, and fear changes your entire vibe. When your behavior says, "Don't leave," attraction hears pressure, not confidence. The shift is simple. Stop trying to secure interest and start giving experiences. Send less from anxiety and speak more when you actually have something alive. Let pauses happen without turning them into personal emergencies inside your head. Because calm men create space, and space gives attraction somewhere to grow. Men who panic at silence usually teach women to feel drained around them. The second mistake is performing too hard instead of revealing who you are. This is the guy who overtalks, overjokes, flexes, and fills every silence instantly. He thinks he's creating attraction, but he's usually managing his own nervousness. And women can feel the difference between expression and performance very fast. Performance says, "Please like me," before you even decided who I am. Real presence says, "I'm here, I'm comfortable, and you can discover me gradually." That's why trying too hard often creates the exact opposite result. She doesn't experience effort as confidence when the effort feels self-protective. She experiences it as someone forcing connection before genuine comfort has formed. Think about the guy who answers everything with a story about himself. Or the guy who treats every moment like a chance to impress. He may seem confident on the surface, but underneath, he's seeking approval. Approval seeking kills mystery, because she already feels your emotional agenda immediately. The practical shift is to slow down and stop selling yourself. Let your humor come out naturally, not like a nonstop audition. Let silence exist long enough for tension, reading, and genuine curiosity. Let her notice things about you before you announce them. Attraction grows faster when discovery feels earned instead of delivered. And here's where most men get blindsided by the third mistake. They react emotionally to uncertainty instead of reading uncertainty with composure. This is where one delayed reply wrecks their entire internal balance. One shorter message suddenly feels like rejection, and now they spiral. They overanalyze, double text, withdraw dramatically, or act colder to regain control. But emotional overreaction reveals that your confidence was depending on her behavior. That's the real problem, because dependence makes your emotional frame instantly unstable. Stable men notice changes without collapsing into interpretations that make everything worse. They don't chase immediate certainty because attraction often moves in waves. Some days she'll be warmer, some days she'll be distracted, tired, or guarded. If every fluctuation changes your personality, you stop feeling emotionally safe. And emotional safety matters more than most men realize deeply. Women lose interest fast when attraction starts feeling like emotional babysitting. So when something feels off, don't immediately make it mean something catastrophic. Stay grounded long enough to see patterns before reacting to moments. That one shift alone makes you look calmer, smarter, and far more attractive. The fourth mistake is being too available in a way that feels empty. Availability isn't unattractive by itself, but meaningless availability absolutely is. When your whole schedule bends around her attention, your life stops signaling value. When you're always free, always waiting, always ready, nothing feels chosen. It just feels like she became the center of your emotional economy. And that pressure can make even interested women quietly step back. People value attention more when it clearly comes from a full life. Not a busy life uses manipulation, but a real one. A life with routines, standards, interests, friends, and things that matter. That creates contrast, and contrast creates emotional meaning for people. When you choose time with her from a strong life, it feels flattering. When you offer time because you have nothing else emotionally alive, it feels heavy. This is why overavailability often kills attraction without any obvious fight or rejection. She just starts feeling less pull, less spark, and less respect. The fix isn't playing games or pretending to be impossible to reach. The fix is having a life that naturally prevents clingy, hollow availability. And if that sounds harsh, here's the deeper truth now. Women rarely lose interest because a man is too nice. They lose interest because nice often becomes blurry, approval-seeking, and self-erasing. And that brings us to the fifth mistake, which hides inside good intentions. You start abandoning your edge to avoid making her uncomfortable or uncertain. You soften your opinions, hide your standards, and overfilter your natural personality. You agree too quickly, laugh too eagerly, and apologize for normal confidence. You think you're being safe, but you're actually becoming forgettable. Attraction needs warmth, yes, but it also needs definition badly. A woman cannot feel drawn to someone who keeps erasing himself for comfort. She wants to feel a person there, not a customized mirror. This is why some men seem kind but strangely hard to remember. They never created friction, shape, or real emotional texture anywhere. No tension, no surprise, no grounded opinion, no sense of self. And without that, interest fades because nothing distinct is holding attention. The shift here is not becoming rude or emotionally unavailable. It's becoming clearer, more honest, and less afraid of being fully seen. Say what you actually think without turning every opinion into a debate. Keep your humor, your pace, your standards, and your own rhythm. Let her respond to the real version of you first. Because attraction built on self-erasure always collapses when reality finally appears. And here's the part most men need to hear twice. These mistakes don't make women lose interest because women are cruel or confusing. They make women lose interest because human beings respond to emotional experience. People move toward what feels grounded, alive, clear, and emotionally easy. They move away from what feels tense, needy, performative, and unstable. Attraction is less about saying the perfect thing and more about transmitted energy. That's why average-looking men sometimes create massive pull without obvious tricks. They aren't forcing chemistry, they're making it easy for chemistry to happen. They know how to stay relaxed without going passive ever. They know how to care without leaking desperation into every interaction. They know how to show interest without auditioning for acceptance. And that balance is what makes someone feel magnetic instead of exhausting. So, if you've been losing women right after strong early momentum, pay attention. Early attraction is easy to create when novelty is doing the work. What matters is what your behavior does after the first spark. Do you become heavier, needier, and harder to be around? Or do you become calmer, clearer, and more attractive as things progress? That's the real test, and most men fail it invisibly. They think the problem is her attention span, her options, or bad timing. Sometimes it is, but often their own reactions quietly finish the job. So let's turn this into something you can actually use tonight. If she seems interested, don't rush to lock it down emotionally. If conversation feels good, don't immediately flood the space afterward. If she pulls back slightly, don't punish the moment with weird distance. If you like her, show it cleanly, not desperately, not constantly, not anxiously. If you have standards, keep them, even when attraction makes you nervous. If you're unsure what she's feeling, observe longer before creating a story. And if you catch yourself performing, pause and return to simple presence. Presence is underrated because it looks boring from the outside. But in real life, presence is what makes someone feel solid. Solid people don't scramble for validation every time uncertainty shows up. Solid people don't abandon themselves just because they want to be liked. Solid people bring calm, clarity, direction, and a little unpredictability. And that combination creates emotional safety without killing attraction completely. This is also why confidence looks quieter than most men expect. Real confidence rarely rushes, over-explains, or begs to be understood. It doesn't need constant control because it can survive ambiguity. And that is incredibly attractive, especially in a world full of panic. So if any of these mistakes felt uncomfortably familiar, good. Awareness stings first, but it gives you leverage almost immediately. Because now, you can catch the exact moments that used to sabotage you. That needy text right before sending it late at night. The oversharing that happens when silence makes you slightly uncomfortable. The fake agreement because you don't want to risk friction. The emotional spiral that starts after one confusing signal appears. The impulse to make her your whole focus before she's earned that place. Those are the moments where attraction is usually lost first. And those are the moments where stronger men quietly separate themselves. Not by acting fake, detached, or emotionally dead inside either, but by staying rooted in themselves while the moment unfolds. That is what women feel and remember, long after conversations. Not perfection, not performance, and definitely not endless, anxious effort. They remember how being around you made their nervous system feel. Either light or heavy, calm or draining, safe or demanding. Either free or managed, curious or pressured, open or guarded. Drawn in or slowly backing away without fully explaining why. So stop asking how to be more impressive and start becoming easier to feel. Become more grounded in silence, steadier under uncertainty, and cleaner. Become more defined in conversation, clearer in boundaries, and warmer. Become more selective with your attention so your time means something. Become more honest without being harsh so your personality stays visible. Because the goal isn't to manipulate women into staying interested. The goal is to become the kind of man interest can naturally stick to. And when you do that, rejection stops feeling like proof you're lacking. It just becomes information, and your center stays intact anyway. That's when you stop chasing interest and start generating it. And that's usually the exact moment people start feeling you differently. If this hit a little too hard, that's probably a good sign. It means you're not broken, just finally seeing the pattern. You're learning the difference between wanting connection and weakening your presence for it. And that difference changes everything about how people respond to you. So the next time her energy shifts, don't panic and don't perform. Notice yourself first, because that's where the real correction begins. Stay steady, stay clear, and let your value come through naturally. That's how attraction lasts longer and stops slipping away fast. And that's how you stop being interesting for a moment and memorable for real.